Okay, let's do more of these dotted rhythms, and they're tricky because you have to feel things that aren't necessary when you're not necessarily clapping. And remember, the rule is the dot equals half of whatever comes before it. So if you have this, well, this equals 4, and then this dot equals 2. If you have this, well, this equals 2 eighth notes strung together or tied together. You know, we haven't really gone into ties, but a way of saying a quarter note, just a quarter note, without the dot, is to tie this one to that one. So I don't clap there. I just hold the eighth note, an extra eighth note duration. That's what this symbol indicates, the tie. Okay, so this dot is another eighth note that we're tying on to the original clap. Okay, so that's what that dot means. So not all dots are the same at all. If you have a dot that comes after one of these, well, this equals 2, so this equals 1. Okay, so let's do, what about a dot that equals, well, a dot that follows one of these, a dotted eighth note. Well, let's remember what an eighth note actually is. Or let's go back and figure out how do you divide a quarter note, not into half, but into 4 parts. And what we used there, we used 16th notes. And for the last one, I like the flags to go this way. And another quicker way to draw all that is like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Not as neat, but it's actually more proper. Okay, so a quarter note is actually 4 16th notes strung together or tied together. So this symbol tells you the first one claps, but then you're adding the duration of another 16th note, you're adding the duration of another 16th note, and you're adding the duration of another 16th note. So actually, it's pouring down here. Okay, so we've got, that is a quarter note split into 4 pieces. So remember, a quarter note equals 2 eighth notes strung together. So an eighth note equals, an eighth note equals 2 16th notes strung together. So now we've figured out what is a half of an eighth note. A half of an eighth note is a 16th note. Okay? So that's what a dot is going to equal when it comes after an eighth note. A dot is going to equal one of these. Therefore, a dotted eighth note equals a 16th, 2 16ths, which is the eighth note part, attached to another 16th. So it equals 3 16th notes. It's 3/4 of a quarter note. You know, a quarter note has 4 16th notes. A dotted eighth note is almost as big as a quarter note. You're just missing one other 16th note. And those are useful because we're going to be doing, when you put them in music, they do some nice, it has a nice effect. Okay, I think we gotta erase. 1 second. Okay, let's put these to work. So we've got this dotted eighth note here, and that almost fills up an entire beat, you know, number 1. It just leaves room for another little piece, a little 16th note extra. Right? So let's just figure out how this sounds. Okay? It's going to sound like this. 1. Let's do let's do 2 eighth notes, just to put this in perspective. This goes 1, whereas the top one goes 1. Let's put in some scaffolding. So 1 and then this, the and comes here, and then the 16th note is here. Let's do this one. 1 and. Let's do the top one. 1 and. So just to say it again, we are this eighth note, just the eighth note alone gets us the first half of the beat. This dot fills up half of the second half of the beat. This dot is making this eighth note last into this part. And then that leaves room for just the other half of the second half of the beat, which you can only fill up with a 16th note. That's the only sized note that you're going to fill that up with. Well, kind of, yeah. Well, one of those notes. Okay, so let's do this again. Let's do the bottom one. 1 and. Let's do the top one. 1 and. Okay, so that and part is the interesting part. Okay, let's do the second beat with an entire quarter note. So that's going to fill up the entire second beat. And then the third beat we'll do with, again, one of these dotted eighths. And I'll show you the proper way of writing these. This is just easier to see for now. So this is the entire third beat, just like this was the entire first beat. And then for the fourth beat, we'll do another quarter note. And that's going to give you the whole fourth beat. Okay. So let's do it all. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Let's do it with some more scaffolding. Okay. So take a look at how the first beat, the and comes before this clap. And then in the third beat, just like the first beat, the and, we are still sounding this eighth note because it's being extended by the dot. And then we have room for just another little 16th note. And then the fourth beat. Let's do it all together with scaffolding. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, the proper way of writing these dotted eighth notes attached to a 16th note is like this. You take the eighth note and the dotted eighth note, and then you take the 16th note and you write this flag going this way and this flag going this way. So basically it looks just like this, except you just have another one of these and a dot here. Okay. Okay, let's do another example with these. 1. So that's what that is. 1 and clap. 1 and like that. 1 and now let's do 2 straight up eighth notes. And then let's do 4 16th notes. And then let's do a quarter note. Whoops, 16th notes, like that. So this is the first beat, second beat, third beat, fourth beat. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, we'll do some more.